A hippie backpacker from the Swiss Alps was tramping across a farmer's field when it got dark. He asked the farmer if he could spend the night. The farmer agreed but said he would have to sleep in bed with his 18-year-old daughter. The farmer told him, "If I catch you molesting my daughter, I'll shoot you." That night the hippie and the farmer's daughter got it on and had a great time. The farmer could hear the goings-on from the next room. In the morning he opened the door and asked the hippie, "Did you have sex with my daughter?" The hippie was a Jesus freak, so he decided to be honest. "Yes, I did. Please forgive me." The farmer took the hippie out back of the house and pointed a shotgun at him. "You got any last words, bub?" he asked. The Swiss hippie said, "Yodel-a-hee-hoo." Then the farmer shot him. When the sheriff arrived, he asked the farmer why he shot the man just for having sex with his daughter. The farmer replied, "Well, I didn't really have a problem with him screwing Bonnie. I was just gonna scare him a little, but when he said, 'Your old lady too,' that's when I blew his head off." A girlfriend walks out of the shower and says to her boyfriend, "Honey, I shaved myself down there. Do you know what that means?" The boyfriend says, "Yeah, it means the drain is clogged again." After being married for 20 years to his lover, a gay man dies. When the funeral arrangements have been set, the widower approaches the undertaker with a peculiar request. "I know we had plans to cremate his body, but will you please chop him up and put him in an extra spicy curry instead?" The undertaker asks, "Why would you want that?" The gay widower replies, "So he will blow my ass out one more time." A boy was going through his grandmother's wallet one night and found her ID card. "Grandma?" he asked, "How much do you weigh?" His grandmother replied, "That's not an appropriate question, Jimmy." He then asked, "How old are you?" She again replied, "That's not appropriate, Jimmy." Finally he asked, "Grandma, why did Grandpa leave you?" Before she had time to answer, Jimmy looked at the card and said, "Oh, I see, it's because you got an F in sex." What's the difference between a pregnant lady and a light bulb? You can unscrew a light bulb. A black guy has 3 wishes. He wishes to be white, uptight, and out of sight. Puff, he's a tampon. A traveling salesman asked a farmer to spend the night. The farmer agreed, but told him he would have to sleep in the barn. The farmer, being a nice guy and knowing how horny traveling salesmen get, told the man, "Look son, see that wall? It's got 3 holes in it. You can screw the first 2 but don't mess around with that 3rd hole. Got it?" The salesman thanked him and bedded down on a pile of hay. About midnight he got real horny and decided to take a poke at the first hole. It was good but not really satisfying, so he took a poke at the second hole. It was even better, but he still wasn't satisfied, so he thought about the 3rd hole and reasoned to himself, "If that first hole was pretty good and the second hole was even better, I'll bet the 3rd hole will really do the trick." The next morning the farmer noticed the salesman was still sleeping, so he went about his chores, and late in the afternoon he finally saw the salesman wake up. "Damn, son. You've been sleeping a long time. What happened?" "Well," the salesman replied, "I should have listened to you. I got horny last night and tried that first hole and it was pretty fair but not really satisfying, so I tried the second hole. It was good but didn't do the job, so I took on that 3rd hole. Say, what's behind them holes anyway?" "Son, that first hole is my sheep, Dolly. The second hole is my mare, Sally, and that 3rd hole is my milking machine, and that thing don't quit till it gets a quart." I told my wife that I would get a tattoo on my pecker of a $1 million bill. This way she can blow $1 million without leaving the house. There once was a man named Sweeney. He spilled some gin on his weenie. That being uncouth, he dipped it in vermouth and slipped his wife a dry martini. A lady sitting in the dentist chair told the dentist, "I would rather go through the pain of childbirth than have you drill in my mouth." The dentist replied, "Well, you had better make up your mind so I can adjust my chair." A professor is lecturing a class and says, "Today's lecture will be about glucose. Glucose is sugar and can be found in lots of stuff. For example, semen, candy, etc." A blonde girl responds with, "How come you can taste sugar in semen?" The professor says, "Well, sweetie, that's because you don't have taste buds in the back of your throat." Thank you for watching. Subscribe.